Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and in this one we shall be once again looking at the best junglers for you to play to carry, win and climb. After the Conqueror nerfs, introduction of volley, a few other buffs and nerfs over the past couple of patches, the jungle meta has remained diverse, but it has shifted quite a bit. Some picks are really great overall, some are really dominant in high elo or low elo, so we will have categories for each of those and I will address nerfs and buffs where appropriate. And as always, if you enjoy these best jungler videos, please consider leaving a like and of course subscribing, and heading to the Patreon where I upload text-based versions of these every single patch. So if you want to improve at any of these champions, and given I have limited coaching slots of my own, consider heading to our sponsor for today's video, League of Coaching. League of Coaching is a brand new coaching site dedicated to offering you many different services ranging from live coaching, to VOD coaching, to duo queue coaching. All of this from master to challenger coaches, with many more to come. You can see each of the coaches' hourly rates and services, earn loyalty points from your sessions, and also have the opportunity to chat and play with them so you can suck more knowledge from them than Fiddlesticks sucks from your team when he gets a penta. So make an account, edit your profile, and get 10% off the promotional deal by clicking the link in the description below. Become a better player with League of Coaching. And so let us begin with the S tier page. Graves and Fiddlesticks still reign supreme, however I'm elevating Fiddlesticks just a little bit because not only does he do well into Graves in terms of win rates, his own personal win rate is still semi-disgusting. And win is clear doesn't seem to be able to get any faster. You head to the Reddit every 2 weeks and someone has figured out how to do just that. I did my carry guide on him a few weeks ago that still applies. The farming speed, the AoE teamfight ability, the objective control, the fact that you've got that silence, point and click fear, and mind games means in terms of having a kit suitable for solo queue, Fiddlesticks really takes the cake. And that makes more sense if you're using the surprise party Fiddlesticks skin. A good Fiddlesticks is a master of deception and positioning as well as timing, and as such should have no problem dominating those mid to late game teamfights by T-posing over their dead corpses and waving your arms around like a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. But no, that doesn't mean Graves is washed up or not the best jungler in the game. His win rate is more tempered. He definitely is beatable, don't get me wrong. It's just that he can play whatever style of jungling you want and adapt to whatever situation is needed, including the giga aggressive smite ignite strategy I put in a video just last week. So if you're a little bored of the map control Graves or farming Graves, feel free to become a carnivore invading Graves, activate Nimbus Cloak twice as much. That video's in the description. Oh, but hello, is it summertime because the bugs are out? Yeah, you know, when you buff isolation damage from 100% to 120%, that's quite a lot. As such, his usage rate has spiked hugely, his win rate has spiked hugely. I think he's being underrated by a lot of the tier lists being put out. Yes, he still has his counters, yes, you can still find a way to deal with him, but in a 1v1 sense, if he gets fed, even early game, look at some of these clips. Really, that Q damage is absolutely disgusting. If you're going the Q evolve route first as well, and you get a little bit of a lead, I struggle to see any jungle that's going to be able to deal with you. Almost any champion, actually. But yes, I think he's very strong. Go get your juices flowing, find some isolated targets, and you know exactly where to put your claws. You know what? I think it's time for an updated Kha'Zix video. Keep an eye out for it. Now, the edgy boy is still floating around here. A couple different rune setups. I think I'll look at that next week in another video. But basically, you've got blue, you've got red, Shadow Assassin, Ras. A lot of time, Kane's strength isn't really indicated in his win rate because people choose the wrong forms, maybe build the wrong items. The Conqueror nerf does affect him. However, you can stack it insanely quickly. And honestly, Ras has enough built-in sustain and damage that overall, it doesn't really impact him too much, but the farming speed, the ability to skirmish early now, the ability to have decent ganks with a 90% slow, Kane is still top tier. Now, Volibear overall is probably a little bit better than Kane in terms of accessibility. A strong bear, a simple bear, you simply need the bare necessities. I guess all 5 of these top junglers you can mix and match, it doesn't really matter. But the attack speed nerf and the heal nerf on the first clears does affect your ability to basically do a full clear without using a pod, invade and kill everyone. At least that was my strategy. I think at this point everyone knows he's one of my mains and was the first champion I ever bought in League. But honestly, the build versatility you have with him is great. However, his overall strength in terms of item spikes are not being harnessed yet by most players that aren't hardcore mains or one-tricks. And enemy junglers and players are not playing around him with the appropriate respect of his early to mid-game power spike. Either way, I think his win rate will stabilize right now, but he is still very strong overall. Spider on the wall. Next up, we have released the queen of early game. Nothing ever changes in that regard. Very easy for Smurfs to go with a duo, spam gank the lane, use her insanely versatile kit just to navigate whatever situation the early game can throw at you, repel dodges, cocoon 6 abilities. Again, I think the level of the player base has improved that you can use her in gold. She's still more effective in diamond and plus. Make sure you know how to close games out and you are taking all those objectives and removing the enemy jungler from the game. And maybe you didn't see this coming, Evelynn is next. Actually, you probably didn't see this coming because no one buys control wards. Seriously, guys, if you're the jungler and you're facing Evelynn, control wards, invade her. Cut her down, don't let her farm and get level 6 easily. because once that happens, you know very well your laners are not going to ward, you know very well she's going to pick off people who are too lazy to back properly, and then you're going to have to wait until the point in the game where everyone's in a death ball and surrounded by vision, and you basically have to play teamfights perfectly. Evelynn is strong, she can farm very well. Her one downside is she doesn't have that total objective control the other champions on this first page do. As such, that's the point of weakness, but enemy junglers in lower elos, mid elos, they just don't do this properly. In higher elo, it's very easy to give up a first dragon or two, make sure you're farming very efficiently. Lanes won't always give away those ganks, so you scale like a beast, and then you just pick people off. The heavy focus on jungle experience and farming and getting to those mid to late game phases for farming junglers really suits Evelynn very well, and if you have good positioning, good map reads, and know how to use her camo to your advantage, both in and out of team fights, means you can definitely climb with this champion. Next up, we have the resurgence of Echo. The Master of Time is still around. No offense to Zilean, although he's pretty good at it as well. So his win rate went down, his play rate went down. However, with the Conqueror nerfs, requiring that extra axe or order or what have you to get that final Conqueror stack gives more windows for Echo to do what he needs to do in order to win 1v1s and take over fights. Because of the nerf to other junglers around him due to this, his place in the hierarchy basically goes up. And it's always a good indication when you're looking through VODs and match histories, as I basically do all the time, and I see Echo in Korea high elo jungle showing up with very high frequency. But he's far away from the super OP early in the season days. And now onto the A page. I'm very sorry, fans of the Green Blob. He still has one of the best carry potentials for solo queue, at least as far as the tank can go. Long range E-bombs, dominating team fights. The problem is when you're a meta jungler, because you counter other meta junglers, and those meta junglers get nerfed a little bit or rune changes, and there's other systemic changes around what junglers are strong, sometimes you just fall off. But it's not a big fall off. I honestly think if you're going for a tank, this is still one of the best ones to go. I was going to transition to Nunu by mentioning the tank synergy. However, at this point with the AP ratio buffs last patch and the fact that Faker now mains Nunu mid, I don't know, is he a tank or is he an AP assassin? Either way, this opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of hybrid builds, Runic Echo, Sunfire's Abyssal Masks, also Proto Belt builds with Cinder Hulk, which is actually more standard. I was just kind of suggesting something that might be fun. But either way, the shield, the damage, the utility now, you can go phase rush instead of having to go aftershock. Suddenly, a very fun and underused tank just got even more options, so please, if you're looking for some fun in solo queue as well as a bit of carry support potential, go snowball and explode some faces. The AD version of release, Rek'Sai, is still one of the best early game junglers. Against the Evelynns of the world, you can afford to apply the pressure to remove her from the game before she hits those late game spikes. And once you hit that level lead, you really do have a disgusting amount of damage. Anything that can go camo or invis views Rek'Sai as an enemy, and so make sure you're using that tremor sense to the fullest potential. Early ganks, all kinds of angles, circumnavigate vision, although really is dominant in Diamond and Plus, has decent success in Platinum. Gold and Below really has fallen off a cliff. I don't really advise using Rek'Sai in those elos. There are way better choices for climbing. And before anyone starts going crazy, no, I haven't forgotten about the Demon Shaco. He still exists, but fortunately for us, his relation to the rest of the meta, it doesn't really exist as strongly. Still cheeses, still basically not counterplay against bottom lanes who don't ward. Actually, who am I kidding? You can ward and you can still go around it. It's really annoying. But the strength of Fiddle, the strength of Volibear, the strength of Nunu have all contributed to the downfall of Shaco's win rate. Next up, we have our resident Chimera, still great at solo queuing those objectives. And yes, I said that correctly because you can sneak them whenever you want. Has significantly better success with tankier builds in the late game and has much better teamfighting kit than other typical early game junglers. But just remember, we want an early lead. Your first clear routes, which I just did a video of, need to be really on point. You must be getting gold leads as soon as possible. You rely very heavily on having the teammate to maintain farm potential, and you also rely on the experience levels to beat enemy junglers 1v1. But overall, the Howls at the Moon and the blood scent of bleeding enemies can easily take you to gold, platinum, and even diamond and above. Uh-oh, he's back. Ladies and gentlemen, Karthus has returned. He has more health, he has more movement speed. Yes, his Q basically does less damage to monsters with a higher AP ratio, but his E gives him mana restore all the time, and the tick rate deals damage 4 times per second instead of 1 time per second. So you'd think, oh, well, his Q damage is down early, his farm potential is nothing, I can go and invade him. Well, then you look at his E and you're like, oh, well, it's offset and even stronger. And yes, he's very slow, and yes, he's very squishy, but he's less slow and less squishy, which means there's more time for him to actually beat you down with his ghost vomit getting everywhere. And, we haven't even touched on that ultimate that ganks lanes without even having to think about it. Yeah, keep an eye on that win rate, it's kind of scary. Now next up, I've talked a lot about Nidalee recently, but again with those buffs that she received a few patches ago, Turbo, quintessential carnivore high elo Korean jungler. Full clear, 4 camp clear, 3 camp clear, whatever she wants to do, she can do it. Whatever she wants to have, she can have it, provided the pilot of the champion actually has skill. And honestly, on this page, in this last slot, you could put a lot of champions, but I cannot ignore the win rate that Vi has overall. Yes, in Diamond she will fall off heavily. You can use her to get Diamond, but she will fall off between Diamond 4 and Master tier. However, to invent a word, her low elo ability to get gold is absolutely S tier. And her lockdown ultimate and her underrated farming capacity combined with the dragon solo ability, again these words are making up, make her a very great overall accessible pick. Basically very easy to pick up and learn a lot about mid and late game teamfights in terms of target selection, objective control, item versatility, an easier version of Jarvan and a very much easier version of Camille. And now for the low elo page, you will see a lot of champions we've talked about already, with the addition of Master Yi, Shyvana, Rammus, and Amumu. The Master Yi is still disgusting, still free Panthers if you funnel, if you're that degenerate, of course, I hope you're not. But the Conqueror nerfs and the greatest shift to the jungle meta have really affected his win rate. However, he still is a low elo specialist, much like Shyvana is. AP Nuke Bomb still has the best win rates. You can build her AD and fighter in the lower elos if you're looking for something to get into the mix of the fights. And overall, I mean, she's still basically a fringe AB tier jungler. She just doesn't really make the cut over the other metas. Rammus, we see a lot of Ignite Smite from King Sticks and things like that. Flash is still probably better for most of you. Free ganks, easy to tilt ADCs, especially as they are currently kinda strong at the moment. And the bottom of this section, I can never forget Amumu just because of that AoE ult, the fact that people are building a lot of AP on him at the moment, the fact that they really underestimate his tier damage, just like acid rain of despair just bleeding all over your brand new shoes and your skin. Yes, you can invade him and kill him, but you know eventually he will get a few ganks off with that long fast bandage toss, and you know once you make one wrong macro decision around a fight, around mid lane, you group up and he hits you with that 5-man ulti, it really can be such a huge game changer, and that's why he's a really great tank for low elo players, even more so than Nunu and Zac sometimes, just to give you a stronger element of teamfight control. Either way, any of these picks will suit you well and definitely help you climb. And for our final section, the high MMR page, those of us with big dreams and hopefully a lot of mechanical potential to pilot any of these champions. And hey look, Karthus is back on the menu, boys. You weren't missed for like the 3 weeks we didn't see you. These overall are of course the best succeeding junglers, but there are a lot of others that can work in this bracket, specifically the Rengars for the kitty enthusiasts, and do not forget our 3-pixel axe throwing Viking. And there you have it, the best junglers for you to use in 10.14 and 10.15. Go and get your LP stonks. Don't forget to look at the roots video I just did earlier in the week, which has every single root you will need. And basically, I'm not clickbaiting every, I mean it. I went through almost every single root in the game. Match it to your champion choice. Don't forget to please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this one. I'm also uploading coaching and gameplays to the other channel. I will be doing a Twitch stream at twitch.tv/Virkayu later tonight, as well as on most Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you for the support, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.